All right, welcome to the broadcast, everybody. So I want to show you guys just really briefly what it means to do drop shipping. And you'll hear this term a little bit, especially in the e-commerce world. You'll hear people talk about the fact that they do drop shipping or they partner with a drop shipper. And I want to help you guys understand what that means so that you can take advantage of it for yourself. Look at this little diagram here for just a second, and let's start at the left-hand side with the consumer. That's represented by that little yellow outlined house there. These days, consumers online are more numerous than ever, right? And that's evidenced every year. I like to go back to Black Friday numbers. And every year they come out with the numbers of sales that happen throughout Black Friday. And people use it as a cue for how well the economy is doing. And year in and year out, and this has been true for many, many years now, the news will report that Black Friday sales are down across the country in brick and mortar stores, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10%. Year in and year out, it's always 8, 9, 10%, something like that. But then on the flip side, they will report that online sales are up about the same amount. So those sales that used to be happening in brick and mortar stores are being cannibalized by online sales. And so I bring that up just to illustrate the fact that there are more internet consumers now than there ever has been before. So if you're getting involved in drop shipping now and think to yourself, man, I should have done this 5 or 10 years ago, well, you're right. You should have done it years ago. But that doesn't mean that you can't start now and do just fine because there's more consumers than ever. So these consumers out there online, they're buying products, and usually if you just follow along here, let me get a red pen so you can see. Here we go. Here's my red pen. So if you'll follow along with the arrows here, the consumer goes and buys a product, right, from an e-commerce retailer. Now that would be us in this example. You guys, we're training you guys to become e-commerce retailers. Now that could mean you sell a product on your own website. For many of you, when you first start doing drop shipping, you may start on eBay because that doesn't require you to have or invest in your own website. So you post a product for sale, and you get the product information from your supplier. So your supplier here is actually going to provide you, the e-commerce retailer, with you're going to get images, right, of products. Okay. You're going to get descriptions. And other product details. Basically, I'll just put etc. here. Don't mind my writing with the mouse. I know the handwriting's bad, but writing with a mouse isn't easy. So you guys get the point. You get the information. You get the product catalog from your product supplier, and we'll show you who those companies are. We'll help you find some of these suppliers that allow for this drop shipping. They give you their catalog, and then you in turn post those products right here on your e-commerce website or eBay, right? I'll say in this case, a lot of you guys are going to be starting on eBay, so I'll put that there, eBay. You post it there, the consumer finds your item, buys it, and then what you do is you in turn order it here from your supplier. You place the order with them. Now that's not a big deal. You may buy the item from them for $50, right? Maybe that was the price of the item. Maybe it was a $50 price tag on whatever it was, a planter for out in the garden, or some gardening equipment, a gardening equipment set, or whatever. The price was $50, but let's say over here you sold it for $95. Right? So what's interesting is the consumer pays you. So you're not buying this $50 product up front. They're just giving it to you as part of the catalog, and you're listing it for sale. You don't own it or anything. You're just posting it for sale, and you choose, say, $95. In most cases, you get to choose your retail price. So we'll say we chose $95, It sold, the consumer bought it for 95. Well, then you place the order, and then you in turn buy it for 50. That leaves you with $45 left over, right? Now that not all that $45 is going to go in your pocket as a profit. You're going to have to pay out a little bit of a commission to eBay and a little bit of a transaction fee to PayPal, to pay for selling on eBay. But that only happens when you make these sales, and they're going to usually take about 13%. So if you sold it for 95 bucks, 12 bucks or whatever is going to go out the door to eBay and PayPal, and you'll be left with the difference. So really, you made over 30 bucks on this sale. That money is what's going to end up in your pocket. So then you place this order with the supplier, and then you'll see the arrow go around here. I'll just follow with my red pen. It goes all the way over, and the product ends up right here with your consumer, right? And your job's done. Your job's done. So that's what drop shipping is. What's interesting is it's a way, a supply chain technique that allows businesses like you, especially startups, to actually get into business without making a big risk. A lot of the reason why people don't start companies or start little businesses themselves is because there's a high cost in buying inventory, right? If I want a store that sells, we'll say sporting apparel, shirts and hats and shorts and sporting gear and equipment, that'd be a great business, right? There's a lot of consumers out there that buy that kind of thing online. But the worry for most people is, well, wait a minute, I can't afford to buy that stuff up front, right? Because if I had to buy it all up front, that would be thousands and thousands, sometimes tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory cost. So that's a con, right? And then in addition to that, where do I store all that stuff, right? I've got to store it somewhere. In my house? Am I going to go get a small warehouse? And then the other big problem with carrying your own inventory is there's no guarantee you'll sell it. You may sell some of it you may not be able to move, and the stuff you can't move, you either just have to liquidate, or I don't know, you sometimes you have to throw it away or just get rid of it altogether because you can't move it at all if you make a mistake in the type of inventory you buy. So I bring all that up because it's risky. And then even when you do make sales, you got to ship it out yourself, right? So it's drop shipping solves a lot of those issues. It makes it to where you don't buy inventory, you don't do any shipping because your supplier does that. You don't warehouse anything. Your only job here, guys, is to sell the item online. Now, I say that like that's an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. It takes some work to actually make sales online. You have to know where to sell. You have to know how to sell. You have to know how to get your product visible when there's a lot of other competitors out there. And don't get me wrong, there is plenty of competition, but that's not a bad thing. That just means there's a lot of money being made out online, and you can take a small piece of it. So you're basically a marketer, right? And that's what we want to teach you. We want to teach you this process right here to become a good marketer. Now, where can you sell? Well, you can sell on Amazon, you can sell on eBay, you can sell on your own website, you could sell on Etsy. There's a lot of stores out there that you could use as sort of like a platform for sales. But what we typically recommend if you're just beginning is start the process on eBay. Learn eBay to begin with, and then you can expand out to some of these other places. And where do you get the suppliers? Well, we'll teach you that. It's beyond the scope of what I want to talk about today. I just want to make sure you guys understand what drop shipping is in some detail, and then we can cover more of the finer points as we continue to do these live trainings. So I hope that was helpful, guys. That's drop shipping in a nutshell. I would say, so that I don't make it sound like it's all downhill and easy and there's no drawbacks to drop shipping. There is. The one main drawback to drop shipping is there's not a whole lot of them out there. There's in terms of like wholesale opportunities where you can buy products in bulk, there's plenty. finding good drop shippers is difficult to do. Which, I mean, we can teach you how to do it, but that's one of the drawbacks. Good drop shippers aren't widely available. They're a little tougher to find. And then on top of that, your only other drawback is your profit margins may not be as good in drop shipping, because since you're not buying 300 t-shirts at once and getting them at a rock bottom price of $4 a shirt, you know, if you're drop shipping one shirt at a time, maybe your per unit drop ship price is $7. So the person out there that's willing to buy 300 or 400 shirts to get them down to a $4 a piece price point, they're going to make a little more money, and they've got a little more wiggle room in terms of pricing, whereas your margins might be a little more thin in drop shipping. I mean, but those are your only real drawbacks. Otherwise, the pros far outweigh the cons, and that's why we teach drop shipping so prevalently in our program here. So anyway, hope that helps you guys. Hope that makes some sense. We're going to continue to teach you how to do that and help you guys get started doing that on your business as we move forward with these net to cash trainings. Thanks for being here, guys, and we will see you all next time.